if I want to start a company, do I need a financial backing, or should I go for management, or should I go for a job first?
It's an excellent question, and I get asked that many places. The answer again, unfortunately, is depends, right? So it depends on whether you've already identified an area that you want to, start a business in. This is the most important. Have you identified an
Yes,
opportunity,
yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah, a business is an opportunity that you can start and you can build a sustainable competitive advantage. Okay, so I would look at it from your perspective that your friends maybe will start making say 3 lakhs a year, 25, and within 3 years they may be making 50,000 or 1 lakh a month, right? So so when you start with your business, your initial income is zero, correct?
Yes.
You're going to stay with your father or you will stay with a friend, whatever. Can you in your business generate that much of money at least in 3 years or 5 years, right? So that is when a business becomes sustainable. Otherwise it is just a hobby. So if you have an idea which you can convert sustainably, you can start at any time. Okay? I would not recommend a business degree because that is 2 years of, in the current situation, it is not 2 years you need to invest. Unless you're looking, a business degree is useful for very specific types of jobs. You're looking at analytics or investment banking or financial services. Those type of jobs, of course, will value that degree, and it's easier to get in to one of those kind of jobs. But
I have heard that when we go to IIM, we build connections from people. Like alumni of IIM are mostly entrepreneurs. So
oh, no, no. Alumni of IIM will work for investment bankers and will work for entrepreneurs who have the courage to start businesses. Because you're going to spend you'll have spent 25 to 30 lakhs by the time you got the IIM degree, and you're starting with minus 30. At least when you leave this engineering college and start, you will start with zero. But if you finish IIM, in my time it was it's much simpler. But in these times, I think it's going to start with minus 30 or minus 40 lakhs. So unless you have a rich father and he's ready to pay your IIM degree, then you can go to IIM and then come and start. That's entirely really your father's, how much you can persuade your father to pay up for you, right?
thanks, sir.
So yeah, you can sell the idea to him, good.
So I want to ask you that how your company is contributing to the nuclear power sector.
Yeah. So obviously safety is the most critical element of all, actually all engineering operations. And in nuclear, obviously safety standards are much higher than elsewhere. So we have tools to be able to inspect parts that go into a nuclear plant, and also tools for inspection of the nuclear reactors which are in service. So these are shut down and tested at regular intervals every year or every 2 years. So we have
Basically, you just make parts for that are used in nuclear reactors.
we don't make the parts. We have intelligence to inspect the parts. These are tested so that there are no cracks or defects in the manufacturing. And also when they are in service, the power plants have to be shut down to be tested for maintenance activities. So we have software for some of these activities.
Thank you, sir.
I am Anirudh Bhardwaj from VIT. My question is in general. What is the attrition rate among the recruits you hire, and what steps do your companies undertake to preserve the talent pool?
I'll start. Attrition is a good thing and a bad thing, right? It's a bad thing because you don't want people to leave. It's also a good thing because you want a few people to leave, right? So it is no longer now, the attrition is no longer about, whether attrition is there or not. It has moved, industries have moved a few notches higher and come to a situation where they have now built processes and systems, and that's what large companies do. Not in terms of course, working on attrition, sure, but more importantly, how to manage attrition, right? So it is about managing people leaving over a period of time, because as you grow up the corporate ladder, it is like a pyramid that you build, and at different points in the pyramid, different people will leave. And it is good that some people leave because it's good for the people and it's good for the company. What companies are trying to ensure is, are the right people staying back? And they will do whatever it takes, and especially the large companies who can afford it, to make sure that, who they want to stay, they go out of the way to make sure that, they are comfortable and make them stay. Now, of course, you should also keep in mind that is the most difficult because the best people are also sought after in the industry. So they will, they will get fantastic offers. So what they are doing is, of course, knowledge management that Srini talked about is a very important factor in making sure that the knowledge stays in the company, although the person leaves, because whatever he or she does is recorded in the knowledge management systems. What they also do is keep the people engaged, and they also have a huge talent pool that keeps coming in every year from colleges. So it's a combination of these factors that they do to make sure that, they can manage attrition in a way. Of course, compensation is a big factor now. So they work on compensations, they make sure that, they do industry surveys every year in terms of compensation that is there, and then they revise the compensation to make sure monetarily they are at par with the industry.
Yeah, I think Mr. Mohan has already answered it. See, in my organization, what we try to do is we don't want to be people dependent, but we want to be process dependent. And this is where I spoke about, this comes very much in light of what I spoke about knowledge management. So you don't put any single point of failures anywhere, you put a backup actually. So for every project leader, we assign a backup project leader in the same team. So even in the unfortunate case of any attrition, we will still be able to handle the situation there. So we said that always try and bring the knowledge and always put processes actually there. Once the processes are there and you train people in the processes, the people will be able to fit into any role. So this is what we normally do.
Yeah. So, of course, we in standard practices are common across organizations, whether they are large or small. But in a smaller, more innovative company, we do some very specific things. One is we try to provide. Actually, all our assignments, all our engineers work on very challenging jobs. So we continuously try to identify those who are showing more of an aptitude and provide them greater chances to learn and do more interesting things. That is one. Secondly, the key people are identified and we try to mentor them and understand whether, and ensure that their career, growth is satisfied as per whatever they like to do. So, and of course to ensure that that knowledge is never restricted to just one person in the organization. This is broadly the parameters.
This is Nivedita from Agni College of Technology. So it is possible for entrepreneurship for girls? Entrepreneurship girls kokeva panlama.
Why do you
So
believe?
without help for parents and husband, like
if you believe that girls are equal to boys, then girls can do everything that the boys can do. Believe me, they can do it better.
okay sir. So what
Simple
qualities,
as that,
sir?
yeah. Huh?
How to improve myself for that?
Yeah, very correct. You asked a very good question, right? So, the most important requirement for entrepreneurship is confidence, right? If you believe I can be an entrepreneur, you can be an entrepreneur, right? In this audience of 500 or maybe 1,500 people, maybe there are 2 people who believe that, and they can become entrepreneurs. But actually, all 500 are pretty much equal, and all of them can become. But only 2 of them will have the confidence to do it. So I hope you will be one of those 2.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
I will talk about, just the physical aspect of it. What I would urge your students, who want to become entrepreneurs, girls or boys. And I think girls more because, we always talk about it. Please join those industry forums. Go and there is an organization called TIE. It stands for the Indus Entrepreneurs, but it's called by the acronym. Please join them as student members. It costs you only 1,000 rupees a year. They meet like twice a month where you get an opportunity to interact with very successful entrepreneurs, girls and boys across the industry. Please go and meet them because, it will give you a tremendous sense of what are the opportunities, how to prepare a business plan, and if you are lucky, you may also, fall into a mentor who can help you with financial assistance. A lot of those things will happen. And as Madhu said, it will help you build tremendous amount of confidence in yourself, right? Because once you have the confidence, it doesn't matter, whether you are tall or short or whether, whether you come from rural or urban, or whether you can speak English or Tamil, all that doesn't matter once you build the confidence. So I strongly suggest those of you who are interested in entrepreneurship, please join some of these industry forums that are there in the city. It will help you quite a bit.
I'm Nandini from Pratyusha College.
Okay.
Actually, I'm from ECE. Is it compulsory to do other courses like Java and .NET to join in software companies?
Yeah, definitely basic competency is expected in these things today because everybody comes with basic knowledge and it's not that difficult to learn these things also. So we do expect certain basic things. We will not, for example, if you are not from the computer science background, we may not be asking any advanced questions, but fundamental knowledge is definitely expected.
It will definitely differentiate you from the rest of the ECs, that you have gone out of the way to learn some of the things which you think is relevant to the industry. And that's about all. That's about all it will do. You are doing another course and things like that.
Thank
Otherwise, the companies will themselves train you to be into that kind of a situation. So that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank all the students for the wonderful interaction.
Distinguished guests, dear faculty members and my dear students, on behalf of BS Abdurrahman University, I extend my sincere thanks to the great personalities on the dais, namely Mr. Mohan, Mr. Srinivasan and Mr. Madhusudanan, who delivered all the 3 lectures. Definitely, they are highly interesting and thought-provoking. Give them a big applause. My thanks to PALS 14 for taking excellent effort on arranging series of campus lectures. My special thanks to Madam Alamelu, who's sitting back. Really, she's putting a lot of efforts. And Madam Viji, she's coordinating all the events, and every day we are seeing a line of mails, emails, organizing many events. Really, Madam, as a partner institute, myself and Dr. Javagar, who is the coordinator of this PALS, we are finding it very difficult to cope up with you. However, we are doing it. And my thanks to Madam Anuradha for moderating this event. And my heartfelt thanks to all my colleagues and faculty members from other institutions, from all the partnership institutes, and students, our own students, as students from partnership institutes, namely Rajalakshmi Engineering College, Agni Engineering College, then Pratyusha Engineering College, then VIT. Very good interactions from all the institutions. Then, anything else? KCG, right? Thank you guys. Thank you one and all. Thank you. We'll meet once again. Thank you.